So ABCs of content. First, some logistics. So our webinars are 1 hour long, and you will find yourself on mute until the end of the webinar. We are going to make sure that we have time for questions at the end. If you do have questions throughout the webinar, you can feel free to put them in the chat, and Laura is here to address those. The webinar is being recorded, and the recording is going to be sent out in a follow-up email later today or tomorrow. This webinar is part of our basic training series. To quickly go through what the series consists of, getting started with Brightspace is a high-level overview of the Brightspace platform, the navigation, the interface, and basic functionalities. Engaging learners is all about engaging with your students, getting your students to engage with each other and with the content using tools like announcements, discussion boards, groups, intelligent agents. Then we have assessing learning, which focuses primarily on creating and grading assignments, but also looks at some other assessing tools like quick eval. And then we have quizzes and gradebook. Both of those are 1 hour long deep dives into those specific functionalities because they have a lot of settings. They have a lot of different items that go into it. So they have an hour dedicated to each of them. There is additional training available. There is a Brightspace community that you can access for free using your CUNY login. We also have the Brightspace resource course available in our Brightspace CUNY environment. In it, you can kind of see the student perspective in the course and also learn about the different functionalities of Brightspace. D2L, the parent company of Brightspace, has their own channel on YouTube. And LMS, the LMS transition group within the Office of Academic Affairs, has their own channel on YouTube as well. And finally, we have ServiceNow, which is a CUNY-wide platform that allows us to post articles, tutorials, step-by-step guidelines for how to do various technology-related things. But today, we are focusing on the basic building blocks. So this is what we're covering today. So we're going to start off by copying from another Brightspace course. We're going to look at how we can manage some content dates. And then we're going to look at the basic organization, creation, editing, deleting of modules and topics. We're going to look at how we can insert different types of multimedia content, files, links. And finally, we're going to look at slightly different ways of building out your content using the course builder and using manage files. So if you haven't had a chance to access Brightspace yet, all you have to do is go to brightspace.cuny.edu and log in with your CUNY login credentials. These are the same credentials that you would use to access Blackboard, CUNY First, Microsoft 365. Your username is your first name, that last name, the last 2 digits of your MPL ID at login.cuny.edu. And now, before we jump into the Brightspace environment, I do also want to point out a resources page for you, just in case you're not aware of it. I'm just going to copy and paste the link in the chat. This is our official CUNY Brightspace transition page. It's got a lot of stuff on it, but some things that I really want to point out to you. You can access them by clicking on Training and Resources button here, which will bring you down to this section where you can find all sorts of CUNY created content, like the LMS Transition YouTube channel I mentioned, the ServiceNow articles, also some D2L content as well, their YouTube channel here, some student content. And then if we scroll down, you can find the campus team's contacts for all of the different transition groups. So if you do have questions, a lot of the time, the answers are best given to you by the folks at your campus because each campus is configuring Brightspace in their own way. So a lot of the time, Laura and myself will not be able to answer your questions because the configuration is specific to your campus. But you can always find people that will help you just by locating your campus in this list and then clicking on it to expand that information. And there you will usually find a campus website for the LMS transition, some shared mailboxes, as well as a number of people that are involved in the transition. And these are the people that would be able to help you that you can reach out to. And now I want to move back to the Brightspace environment. This is what we see when we first log in. A little disclaimer, what I see is going to be a little different from what you see, because as I mentioned, every campus has a slightly different configuration. They have slightly different home pages as well as navigation bars. So if I just open a couple of random home pages, you can see that each one of them has the campus logo and a navigation bar that contains maybe some campus specific resources. And some of the time you will see that the colors and the theme are different as well. But most things will remain the same, such as the bar across the top here, as well as the widgets that you will find when you scroll down the home page. So today, I want to start by creating a practice site. A practice site is a good idea because while we are going to have 4 years of Blackboard courses migrated for us into Brightspace, so they should be available for you and you should be able to find them in the My Courses widget. If you just click on the different semesters, you will find your Blackboard courses there. A lot of the time, it's a good idea to leave those courses alone as kind of a reference. And then if you do want to make changes, update it for future semesters, that's when a practice site can come in handy. So a practice site is a sandbox. It's available to you only, where you can play around with the different functionalities, build out your course, make updates. And then once you're ready, you can copy the entire practice site into your live shell when the semester starts. So we're going to go ahead and create a practice site. All we have to do is click Get Started and create a name for our practice site. Once created, you cannot rename it. So make sure that you name it something specific, something that makes sense to you. A lot of the time, if you're using it to update an existing course, it would be a good idea to name it after that course. Under the course type, the only option you're going to have is CUNY Practice Site. And then we click Next. And then we just want to make sure that everything is spelled correctly. If it's not, maybe you realize you want to add your name to it, just so that it's easier to identify if if someone has to locate it for you. And then once we're done, we click Finish, and it will tell you that it's been successfully created. And you can jump right into that practice site by clicking on the Go to Course homepage link. So right now we're looking at a completely blank practice site. There is absolutely nothing here. So if you were to decide to start from scratch rather than using one of your pre-existing and migrated Blackboard courses, this is what you would be starting with. And I do want to show you how to create things from scratch before we go ahead and make a copy from an existing site. So if we were to be starting from scratch, we would go into the content area. And as you can see, everything here is blank. And under table of contents, the only thing we have is this add a module button. It doesn't really look like a button. It's kind of a hidden button, but if you hover over it, you'll see that your cursor turns into a clicky hand. So to add a module, all I have to do is click here, and it will turn into a text box where I can type in the name of my module. Once done, I can just click Enter on my keyboard, and it will automatically create this module for me. So I have my module. I can see it in the table of contents here, and I can see it on the right side of the screen where I would be able to start, adding dates, the description, and adding topics to it. Let's go ahead and create one more. So now we have two, And to get into them, in order to edit them, all I have to do is click on the name in the table of contents, and I can see the editing area on the right side of my screen. Now we are going to go through all the different things we can do within a module, but the next thing I want to do right now is copy an existing course into this one. So if we were starting from scratch, this is how we would do it. If we decided that we'd rather use an existing course and just make edits to it, we can do that too. So in order to copy a course over, we have to go into Course Admin. This is the most useful link you're going to find on your navigation bar because it will lead you to every single tool that you have available to you within this course. So just make sure you know where it is. Like I said, every campus has a slightly different configuration. So for me, it's front and center here, but for you, it might be under one of the drop-down menus. Might take a little looking around. Once you find it, you're golden because as you can see, anything that you could possibly want to do is under this area. So we're going to go ahead and click Import, Export, Copy Components. And we're going to stick with the very top option, copy components from another org unit. Org unit is Brightspace terminology for course. So basically, we're just saying we're going to copy into this course from another Brightspace course. We're going to click the Search for Offering button. And here we are going to look for the course we want to copy from. So you would be searching by a keyword that is within the title of the course. Once you locate the course in the list, we're going to click Add Selected. And now at the bottom of the page, we have two options. We have the Copy All Components option, which is going to take every single item within that course and copy it over. All of the content, quizzes, assignments, announcements, everything. If we're only wanting to copy certain items, say you just want to copy over the quizzes, but you don't really need anything else, you can go with Select Components. For our purposes today, we do want the entirety of the course copied over, so we're going to click Copy All Components. And it's going to let me know copying is in progress. You don't have to stay on this page. This process could take a while, potentially, depending on how large the course that you're copying is, if it has a lot of files, a lot of videos. But there is something we can do in the meantime. So here we have Review and Manage Dates, which is going to take us to a page that is going to list every single item within the course that I'm currently copying. So here you can see we have some content topic, we have some discussions, we have grade items. And for each of those, we have a due date, start date, end date, visibility status. Now, for things like grade items and discussion boards and content topics, you might not always have a specific due date or a start date. Those are maybe more frequently used with assignments or quizzes. So we can actually filter by the tool. Once I select specific tools, I can choose from the list here the items that I want to see. And then I click Apply Filter. And now my list is a lot shorter. I can see some assignments and quizzes here. And I can see the due dates, start dates, and end dates. These came over from the course that I am copying. So chances are all of these are set up for a previous semester, right? Maybe the spring semester or, I don't know, fall 2023, whatever the case may be. So you can change these individually by manually clicking on the date and using the calendar function here to change it. If you have a lot of items on the list, that might get to be really time consuming. So here is a great tool you can use to very quickly change your dates from one semester to the next. First, we're going to click the Select All checkbox at the top, which is going to select every single item in my list. And then I'm going to click Bulk Offset Dates. I'm going to make sure everything is checked off. And then I can either offset by a specific number of days and hours, or if I don't know exactly what the number of days is between two semesters, I can click Calculate Range. And then I'll just select the start of the semester that it was for, and then select the start of the current semester, right? It's going to let me know right here at the bottom that it's offsetting by 367 days. Then I click Save. It's going to take a second. And now you can see all of the dates were changed to 1 year into the future. So you may still need to, click and change some, especially if, it moved it from like a Monday to a Sunday or anything like that, but it offsets all of your dates at once, making it much, much easier to, update it to the current semester that you need it to be. So by now we should have already had everything copied over. So I'm going to go to the homepage of my course. I can go to my course homepage at any time just by clicking the title at the top. And now I can see that previously this was blank, but now I have all of this new content. My announcements came over. And if I go into assignments, for example, I'll see that I have a bunch of assignments that came over. So my information was copied over from the course I selected. Now, when I click on content, I can see all of the different modules that came over from the original site. I also want to point out that the 2 modules I created prior to the copying process are still here. So if you're worried that you are creating stuff and then when you're copying other stuff over, it's going to overwrite it and accidentally delete your work, you don't have to worry. The copying, or rather the importing, exporting process does not delete anything. It simply adds onto. So it's cumulative. So if I want to look at an existing module, I can show you what that looks like. We have our module title. I have my module description, and then I have all of the different items associated with it. So here I want to stop and talk a little bit about terminology because it is a little different from Blackboard. In Blackboard, we had folders, we had items, we had files. In Brightspace, we have modules and topics. A module is any one of these items that we see on the left under Table of Contents, and you can think of it as a folder. This could be, a topic per module, or you could have a weekly module. However you usually divide up your class, you can think of it in terms of modules. Now, inside of the module in Brightspace are topics. So each of these items here is a topic. A topic could be a file, could be a video, it could be a discussion board or an assignment. Basically, anything that you want to affiliate with your module can be added as a topic underneath the module. And then when the student is going through, they're going to go through all of these different topics in order. So let's see what that looks like by going to one of our, let's see what that looks like by going into one of our blank modules so I can show you how to build it up from scratch. So here, where it says add a description, you can see it doesn't look like a button, but when I hover over it, it turns into a clicky hand. And if I click on it, it turns into a text box. This is the same text box that we see everywhere else within Brightspace. It has all of the same options here as when we're creating an announcement or we are creating a blank web page or a discussion board or anything else. Across the top, we have some of our very basic formatting options, different headings, bold, italic, underlined, different colors. So just want to show you that if I highlight my text and go into the color, it is going to have our little accessibility checker here. So as I'm selecting colors, it is going to tell me with a checkbox or an X whether or not the color combination is accessible, whether it is visible to folks with some visual impairments or anything like that. So you want to make sure that you're staying in the check marks. We have a lot of other different formatting items. We can align, we can use bullets. But what I really want to focus on is how you can bring different information into this module description. So since we're thinking of modules as folders, the description area would be a way for you to introduce the module, maybe go over instructions for the week, or point people towards items that they need to complete, anything like that. And we have a lot of different ways to point people to those. So the first button I want to show you is this Insert Stuff button. It's one of my favorites. When we click on that, we have a lot of different items we can insert here. So first, obviously, we can insert a file from our computer. We can grab any file that exists within our computer and upload it. So this used to be a file that just existed on my computer. Now it is part of my class, and if students click on it, they're going to go to that Word document. Going back under Insert Stuff, I have some publisher stuff here. If I am the sort of person that likes to grab all of my items and use it in a course, like in a Blackboard collection, where first you save all of the items into your course, and then one by one, week by week, you're slowly using them up, you'd be able to access those through the course offering files. If I click on that, it's going to take me to my course files. I can add a video note. So this is great if you would like to engage with your students by showing your face or letting them hear your voice. And if you'd rather give instructions by talking through them rather than writing them down, you can do this. Just a side note, as soon as I click on this and start recording, my microphone is going to go out. It will come back. This is just because using my microphone in 2 locations is not going to work. So if I click on video note, hello, I can do audio only, or I can do it with the video. So I can start recording, talk. Once I'm done, click next. I want to title my video, so maybe instructions for week 1. And I do want to make sure that for accessibility purposes, I have captions available on my video. So I just have to select which language I was speaking and check off automatically generate captions. It is going to take a few seconds to process. The longer your recording is, the longer it is going to take to process. But thankfully, I can just click insert and it can just keep processing while I'm moving on to other items. Back to insert stuff. I can insert items from the media library. I can also put a YouTube video into my module description. I don't need an embed code or a link. YouTube is integrated into Brightspace, so all I have to do is click on this and then search YouTube. Then I just locate the video that I want. I click on it, click Insert, and now that video is embedded into my module description. Other things I can do here is I can insert an image from Flickr, I can insert a link, or if I do have an embed code for some web object, I can enter it here. The next item I want to go over here is insert quick link. So we can think of insert stuff as a way to grab items that are outside of my course and bring them in, right? An external YouTube video, or a video note that I recorded myself, or a file from my local computer. On the other hand, insert quick link allows me to link to items that are already a part of my course. So let's say I want to link to some content and maybe to an assignment. So all I have to do is click on Insert Quick Link. These are all of the different tools that I have in my course. If I'm looking for content, I'm going to go into Content. I'm going to locate the content module. And then maybe I want to do an assignment next. So once again, I'm going to click on Insert Quick Link. This time I'm going to choose Assignments, and I'm going to select the assignment that I'm looking for. So it's just another different way for me to refer to items that already exist within the course. Finally, if I want to insert an image, I can do that here. And I can grab an image from my local computer, from a link, or an image that already exists within my course offering files. So for now, I'm not going to add an image. I'm just going to click Update. And here you can see my description. There's some text, there's a link to a file, and there's some stuff I embedded. I am going to open my course homepage in a different tab just to show you something. So on my course homepage, I'm going to have a visual table of contents. It's a way for students to see what content is available, in what order, and they can click on any one of these that you make available to them and go right into the content. They can see how many topics they've completed here, and say they were halfway through the module, they would be able to click on this Continue button, and it will take them right where they left off last time. But another thing you might notice is that all of the modules that I brought over with me have a little image as part of their tile. The modules that I created originally have a default image. So if I do want to have an image in my tile within my table of contents here, all I have to do is add an image to the module description. So how can I go back in and make changes to my module description? All I have to do is hover anywhere inside of the description, and once I click, it is going to bring me back to the text box. And now all I have to do is put in an image. So I'm going to click Insert Image. Let's say I want to go from course offering files because I'm pretty sure I have some images here. And I'm just going to grab a random one. Oops. Instead of clicking on it, which will download it, we want to click on the checkbox here and click Add. And then we want to add alternative text for accessibility purposes. If the image is purely decorative, we can mark it decorative. So here is the image. I can resize it by clicking on it to select it and then using this drag arrow to make it smaller or larger. And then I'm going to click Update. So now it's part of my module description. And if I go back to my course homepage and refresh, I can now see that that image has become part of the tile here in my visual table of contents. So that's an easy way for me to make sure my visual table of contents has some pizzazz to it. If you have multiple images, it's going to be the first one in the module that is going to come up in the tile. So that's just the description, right? It's an introduction to the module. The actual, as you say, meat and potatoes of your content is going to exist underneath the module, or if you want to think of it that way, inside of the folder. So this is where we're going to add the actual content. We have two different buttons here. Upload and create will allow you to grab items that are outside of the course and associate them with your module. Existing activities is going to grab items that are already a part of your course, as well as any integrations that your campus has. So every campus is going to have slightly different, third-party integrations, and you'll be able to find all of them under existing activities here. So I just want to go through a few of these just to show you what it looks like. So under upload and create, we can obviously just upload files from our computer. I'm going to click upload. I'm just going to grab the same report I used before, and it'll let me know that the file already exists. I'm just going to pretend it's a new file. So it automatically updated here in my list of topics. Now it's going to have the title. It's going to say that it's a Word document. Let's continue. I can add video or audio. So the same way I added a video note, I can do that here. Or if I have a video file that's on my computer, I can upload it. Next, we have create a file. I do want to show you that because this is a way for you to basically share content that's text, right? If you have a lot of information that you want to type up or copy and paste, you can do that here. So by default, this area is blank. However, we do have some templates. I just want to take you through a few. So if you want a module introduction template, it comes with an image that you can replace and then some placeholder information that you can replace as well. There's a Meet Your Facilitator template, which again comes with a bunch of placeholders that you would just replace with, your photo, your contact information. If you want to post a video lecture, but rather than posting just the video file itself, you want to provide some context or anything like that. Once again, there's some placeholders here and a way for you to, provide that context. So let's say this is a video lecture. Once I click Save and Close, it is going to take me to what that file is going to look like. And when I go back to my table of contents and back to that module, I can see the second topic that I've added is a web page. Next, I have Add from Manage Files. So again, if I'm the sort of person that likes to add all of my, PDFs, PowerPoints into the course right off the bat, and then grab them one by one throughout the course, I would just add from Manage Files, and it will bring me to all of my course files. And then maybe I created a separate folder for my PowerPoints. So I can click the checkbox here and click Add, and it's going to add that file to my topics PowerPoint presentation. If you use SCORM or API objects, you can add those here as well. And I do want to point out that you can create a new assignment, checklist, discussion, quiz, and survey right from this area. You can create all of those items from their specific tool areas. And in later webinars, we are going to go over how to create assignments, discussions, and quizzes. But if you just are doing something really quick, just want to point out that you can absolutely create it right from here without having to exit your module. Next, let's go and look at some of our existing activities. So let's say there is an assignment associated with this module. I can add it right from this area. I'm just going to click on assignments, and it's going to bring up all of the different assignments I have in this course. So I can just choose from the list. I click on it, and it adds it to the module. Let's just do one more, maybe a quiz. Okay, so I've built out my module. I have some readings, I have an assignment, I have a quiz. Now let's look at how we can make some edits to it. So the first thing I want to show you is that you can very easily move your modules around. Let's say you want to do your topics in a different order this semester or anything like that. If you hover to the very left of your module title, you'll see the cursor turns into 4 arrows, and you can just drag and drop. For some reason, every time it refreshes, it moves to a different area of the page. But again, maybe I want to move this here. So you can see how I can move it around. Obviously, I would need to rename the modules as well, which I can do by clicking into the module and then just clicking on the title itself. It'll change the text box to a text box I can edit. I can make the change, click enter, and it's immediately reflected here. I can do the same thing in terms of moving things around for the topics. As you can see to the left of each topic name, once again, I have the 4 arrows, and I can very easily move my topics around. Let's see what other options we have here. So anytime we see this downward chevron in Brightspace, that means it's a drop-down menu that has additional options. So things we can do here is edit the title, which we can also do just by clicking on it. We can download this module. We can hide it from users. So if it's a work in progress, you don't want folks to see it just yet, you can manually hide it. It's going to say hidden right here, and you'll see this toggle here. This is the same thing as available, unavailable in Blackboard. Once you're ready for your students to see it, you can just toggle that back on. If you're not comfortable with dragging and dropping to move things around, you can use these move down, move up options, and it'll move it in the table of contents. Now I have move up, move down. I can also move the module to a different module to create a submodule. So if I want my syllabus to be a submodule of week 1, I can do that. And now you can see there's a slight indent before syllabus. And if I go to week 1 and scroll down, I can see that now syllabus is a submodule. So that is an option. A couple of other things I want to show you here. So right above where we have our description area, we have the add dates and restrictions. And if I click on that, I have the option of adding a start date, an end date, and release conditions. Why would I want a start date? Well, if I'm creating all of my content right now so that I don't have to work on it throughout the semester, but obviously I don't want my students to see all of the content now. I want it to be revealed maybe every Monday morning. I can add start dates to my modules, meaning that the student is not going to be able to see my week 2 until, Monday morning. I can change the time as well if I want. If I click update, now it says it starts October 21st. If I want this module to disappear after a certain time, so maybe this is like a midterm prep and I want it to disappear the day before the midterm, I can add an end date as well. I can also add a release condition. So this is what we had in Blackboard as adaptive release. A release condition just means that you don't want the student to be able to view this item until a certain trigger has been completed. So maybe I don't want my students to see this content until they finished the previous module, or I don't want my students to see this module until they have completed last week's assignment. So I can add a release condition by clicking Create. And under the condition type dropdown, these are all of the different conditions I could select. So submitting an assignment, or on the other hand, not submitting an assignment, right? Maybe this is a makeup module just for students that didn't submit an assignment. Or I don't want students to see this until they've completed a certain checklist. Or until they visited specific content topics. Oops. And I can select which content topic I want them to have visited before they can view this one. So once I'm done, I just click Update, and I will see all of my different restrictions and dates right under the module date or a module title. So I can see when it starts, and also before the student can see this, they have to have visited this content topic. I want to show you a couple of different ways of looking at building out your content. So the way we've been looking at so far is the most straightforward, probably. But I do want to show you a couple of other ways, and we can get to them by clicking on the table of contents itself. Oh, actually, before I do that, there's one more thing I want to show you. Let's go back to Dostoevsky. Okay, so I have a bunch of topics here, right? If I click bulk edit, I am able to kind of quickly on the same page edit the title, the dates, due dates, start dates, and the descriptions of each of these topics. So again, if I need to make updates to the modules, if I need to delete certain topics, I can do that under the bulk edit umbrella. So I can make changes to the titles. I can make changes to due dates. By the way, this, I think as far as I know, this bulk edit area within a module is the only way for us to set a due date for a discussion board. So when you're creating a discussion board, it's not going to have a place for you to set a due date. So if you do want to set a due date for a discussion board, you would have to do it in this area. So here we have our due date. I can change that if I want. Click update. And then if I want to make changes to the descriptions, I can do that. Once I'm done making all those changes, all I have to do is click Done Editing, and they will be reflected in my topics. Okay, now let's go to the table of contents. Clicking on Table of Contents is actually going to bring up all of the different contents that I have in my course. So as you can see right here, by the scroll bar, this page is quite long. And if I scroll down, which I'm not going to do because it's too much, we will be able to see every single piece of content we have in the course. So if I want to use this bulk edit here, I will actually be able to make edits to titles, dates, and descriptions of every single item of content in my course. So if you want a quick way to edit everything, this is it. But that's not what I wanted to cover. Under Related Tools dropdown, we have Course Builder and Manage Files. So first, we're going to jump into Course Builder. And this is just a different way of looking at the same content, right? The view we were looking at Um, this view here. This is the view that the students would have. We click on the modules here, and then we're able to see inside of them. But if you want more of a, I guess, bird's eye view of your course, Course Builder provides that. So you can see all of your modules in an outline, and I can expand each module to see if I have any submodules and all of the topics associated with it. If I click on any one of these topics, it'll tell me on the right-hand side here what kind of item it is. It's an Excel spreadsheet. This is a video file. And this makes it quite easy for me to move items from one module to another, right? I can just drag and drop it from module to module. So if I need to move stuff around, now this is a really easy way to do that. That's not the only thing I can do here. On the left-hand side, I can build an outline. So these would be placeholders, or I can add content. So let's say I am going through this outline and I am thinking, the extra credit module needs a discussion board, right? Maybe where students can ask questions about extra credit items. So I can grab the discussion board, drag it over to the extra credit module, and it'll help me create a brand new discussion board right here. I don't need to go to the discussion board tool. I don't have to exit out of this window. I can just create it right here using an existing forum or maybe a new forum. And there it is. Right here is my extra credit discussion board I just created. If I scroll down, I can browse my tools within the course. So there's lots of different ways for us to kind of arrive at the same area. I would say the course builder is more visual for folks that kind of want to see an outline of everything they're doing without being distracted by the actual content, by the pictures or the videos or whatever else we can see in our other view. Manage files, it's not necessarily a different way to build, but I do want to point it out. This whole time I've been referring to people that like to use Blackboard collections, people that want to grab all of their course-related content and load it into the course. So, they don't have to worry about it throughout the semester. So this is where we would do that. This is all of the different files we have associated with the course. I can create new folders. I can upload files from my computer. So now this PDF file is part of my course, but it's not visible to students. Right? The only way it will become visible to students is if I associate it with a module. So you can put all of your different files here. You don't have to worry about students seeing them because they don't see this view at all. And then once you're ready for your student to have access to this file, all we have to do is go into our module and go to Upload and Create, add from Manage Files. And then we would navigate to wherever we uploaded that PDF and add it to our module. And here it is. All right, I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. I want to make sure we have time for questions. So first I'm going to ask Laura if I missed anything that I was supposed to cover and if there are any questions for me to address.
No, I wouldn't say you missed anything. I would just say that with regards to that little eyeball in the corner, the hidden or visible, that I just want to make sure people are aware that if you set a start date but you still have it hidden, the hidden thing will override the start date. So even though you might have it set for like start date is tomorrow, if you forget to switch it to visible, it will still be hidden to your students.
Yes, thank you, Laura. That's a good point. So just like available, unavailable in Blackboard, this overrides everything else. This is a way for you as the instructor to very quickly make this not available to students no matter what. And then once you make it visible, then it depends on if you have any other restrictions or release conditions or start dates set. That if you do have questions later on, you can locate folks that can help you on your campus in the campus team's contacts area of the Brightspace transition page. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully you learned something, and we'll see you in future webinars.